Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Hello, assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu pakhair agale ni hao chunashumme washmale. Oh hi gonzaimes, guten morgen. Hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal? Hale shuma chatore, ahlan wa sahlan, marhaba. Buna mucho gracias, swami. Ab bhalli kare aaya. Hoş geldin and ayasai khuyamora chivat tochi haljud kalimera khairutan, and a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into Pakistan TV and are watching World this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I happen to be Hasaan Khan, and with me I'm really lucky. I've been joined by my wonderful colleague who happens to be Miss Eesha Rehan. And for each and every one of you who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, we hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your Tuesday morning with us. But first things first, hello Eesha, assalamu alaikum. How are you feeling today? I can see there's a bit of change in your hairstyle today. What happened?
Walaikum assalam, Shahid. I feel absolutely great today, and it was so refreshing to hear your warm and wonderful introduction.
Thank you so much.
Once again, you know, I feel like I've been learning and catching on, and maybe one day we can do it together.
Sure, why not? I think we can still give it a try. Do you want to still give it a try?
Oh my God, no, maybe not today. Maybe after a few more practices.
Sure,
but
why
you know,
not?
Shahid, yes, I look slightly different. I experimented with my hair. I hope it looks normal in real life and on
great.
TV as
well. It looks
well.
great. Yeah.
So, and speaking about this beautiful, wonderful day, it's sunny and bright again in Islamabad, but a chilly breeze is following by. I can see my little dogs. They're always napping in the sun, right? So I think that time has begun where you can soak in a lot of vitamin D. But you know, I think we should move on with what this wonderful show today entails and what glimpses are we going to share with you today.
Exactly. So there are a couple of stories that I've brought in, and there are a couple of stories that Eesha would love to speak about. First things first, ladies and gentlemen, the first highlight will be about how the State Bank of Pakistan has signed an agreement with the International Finance Corporation, a member of the World Bank Group, to strengthen the local currency financing, support private sector growth in Pakistan, which according to the World Bank, borrowing in foreign currency exposes clients to the rise that debt to debt service payments increase when the local currency depreciates. Well, it's certainly going to benefit our economy. We have seen how Pakistan is not just out on a diplomatic ascent, but on an economic ascent as well. But that's the first story that we will be talking about. Eesha, what about the next one?
Oh my God, and the second story revolves around how we take things like the internet for granted until it disappears. And in a tale of massive digital destruction that occurred recently, it is the Amazon Web Services that suffered a global outage, disrupting major apps and websites like Netflix, Roblox, Fortnite. Over 11 million outage reports logged worldwide. 2,500 companies were affected. Experts say losses could reach hundreds of billions of dollars due to halted business. It was not a cyber attack, Shahzad. It was actually a human or technical error. And we will be talking about how digital dependency needs to be increased in different countries, especially like Pakistan, where we should have our own cloud computing networks so we do not suffer such losses.
I think it looks like we've done an entire program in the highlight, but ladies and gentlemen, it was more like an internet apocalypse. We will be talking about it. But on the other hand, unfortunate to kind of hear about it, how there has been violations of the Gaza ceasefire from the Israel end, and how unfortunately a lot of Palestinians have yet again been killed as well. You know, may it be Jared Kushner, may it be Witkoff, you know, have been traveling to Israel to make sure that, you know, that the ceasefire actually stays in full spirit and letter. But for now, it does not really look like as if Israel is agreeing to what the top of the line Gaza statement was about ceasefire, because the truce is shaky. Israel launched new artillery and airstrikes in Gaza and southern Lebanon despite the agreement. Over 270 people in Lebanon have been killed by Israeli attacks since last November's ceasefire with Hezbollah. Now in Gaza, Israel returned the body of another captive, while 20 living hostages and 13 bodies have been released by Palestinian factions under the truce. Hundreds of aid trucks and stuck at Egypt's Rafah border crossing. Israel is still blocking full-scale humanitarian aid. Thank you so much for all the support, Eesha, at this point of time.
All right, Nida, thank you so much for highlighting that, Shahzad. The world needs to recognize how Gaza is suffering and how we need to address such issues to stop this violence from affecting innocent civilian lives.
Exactly, and in addition to this, from here onwards, we'll move on towards the field of sports, where I don't know whether it's fortunate or unfortunate or what are we trying to do over here, but Mohammad Rizwan has been replaced or sacked. That's exactly what the what or how it was actually mentioned in the ESPN Cricket Info application as well, where how Mohammad Rizwan has been sacked from the one-day international captaincy, and Shaheen Afridi has been named as the new one-day international captain, just ahead of the one-day internationals that Pakistan is supposed to play against South Africa. We will build up on that, but very quickly, let's fly in air.
Definitely, definitely. And Pakistan is no short of talent. We will be discussing how a young Lahori astronaut, all the way traveling in the United States of America, is achieving astrophysics and flying in the stars essentially. And we can see how in this microgravity exercise, he actually floated the Pakistani flag. It looks so exceptional, and it's great to see how he keeps the pride and identity of his nation intact while remembering Pakistan as his nation's. His hands-on astronaut training can be viewed, and it needs to be acknowledged as he is one of the few civilians in the world who is experiencing these trainings.
And I believe that the only one from Pakistan as well. With that, we're heading out towards a short break. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back, and make sure that you go ahead, get a cup of coffee and sip on that. Meanwhile, we will be right back. We are World This Morning.
All right, welcome back to all the lovely people who stayed tuned with us, and we are still World This Morning on Pakistan TV. On our first segment, we will be discussing how the State Bank of Pakistan and the International Finance Corporation have signed an agreement that is going to boost Pakistan's economy, help in economic resilience as well, because loans will now be taken out in Pakistani rupees, which will help actually decline the re-giving of the loan, reissuance of loan in foreign currency, unfortunately, if the rupee declines in value. And to speak more about how this is going to create a lot of resilience for Pakistan, we actually have Professor Dr. QAIS ASLAM, a renowned professor of economics at the University of Central Punjab. Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time. So, sir, first things first, what we're going to do is, because we are a morning show, we would want our audiences to understand the importance of this very agreement. So, State Bank of Pakistan and International Finance Corporation Inc. deal to boost local currency financing. What do we actually mean by that?
That basically means that our public sector as well as our private sector now can take their loans from international banks in Pakistani rupee, and their dependence on dollar and other currencies might diminish. That technically would mean that we can use the exchange rate in our favor rather than against us, because we were borrowing and we were paying back interest and the principal in foreign currency, and we had to earn that foreign currency through our exports or through our remittances or just borrow. Now we can directly, so that would be bypassing the foreign currency, and the whole transactions between international finance corporations and this state central bank and our banking system would be through our own local currency, and therefore the fear of depreciation of our currency would diminish to a certain extent.
Exactly, and certainly it looks like as if it's a great news as well, and such an initiative will certainly bolster or improve our economy or economic measures as well. But sir, in addition to this, let me...
Yes, I'm listening.
This. Now imagine, for a layman to kind of have a better understanding, how will it not impact the depreciation of our rupee? Let's talk about this first.
Look, the rupee depreciates against foreign currency when our balance of payments, our exports are less than our imports. Our payments to the world are more than to us in foreign currency. But when this is going to be in local currency, then the investment climate might get better, exports might get better, and therefore the payments or repayments would not be in the foreign currency. It would be in the local currency. Now, local currency can be printed by the central bank, but foreign currency cannot be printed by the central bank. So it can be inflationary, but it will not affect the exchange rate in that context, and therefore will not affect the power of the economy to pay back in foreign currency. It will local currency can be used or should be used in this context.
Absolutely fantastic, and we're so excited to hear more about this. And speaking about this, Governor Jamil Ahmed actually mentioned that this deal can help improve job creation across the country and unlock financing in specific sectors. So in your opinion, what sectors are going to be most impacted and benefited by this deal?
Look, there are two things that has to be understood. Number one, our policymakers, especially sitting in the central bank, they're financists and financial economists. So the jobs that they are thinking about would be in the banking sector, in the insurance sector, and in the stock market and in other financial sector. But when you come to these development sectors, there it is very important that local investors take advantage of this agreement and start investing in, let's say, tourism, start investing in diversifying of the industry, so that the job creation, which takes time, which takes a longer period of time. And then the third thing might happen in this context is that foreign investors can come and invest in this country in local currency rather than in foreign currency. So yes, the opportunities will increase, but how do we use these opportunities in job creation and income generation would be seen in the future technically. But in the financial sector, it's a very good what I will say, it is a very good trend.
It is indeed, sir. But sir, over here at this point of time, let's speak as a Pakistani at heart, because we have seen that we have had an over reliability on dollars and how everybody would have wanted to get their hands onto as many dollars as they can, no matter what, because it has been more of a business model over here for Pakistan. How do you think that when this over reliability on dollar is actually going to decrease, will have an impact on dollar and dollar prices? Do you think that we will look at, dollars or the dollar exchange rate getting a little down because of the fact that, this agreement actually comes into play?
Look, the whole context when we talk about the dollar thing is that till such time that we increase our exports or our capacity to earn more dollars, whether through remittances or through exports or through IT exports or physical exports, this would not diminish. But at the same time, when more and more financing is dependent on local currency, then the dependence on dollar. But the problem that we have seen and the question that you have raised is that there are two very important sources of storage of value, because Pakistani rupee was depreciating because industrialization was not happening and there is a minus growth rate. Therefore, a large amount of people with money, whether legal or illegal, were either saving in dollars, which was appreciating, or in gold, which has gone to about more than 340,000 rupees to a tola. So when you start giving importance to local currency, then yes, I don't think the dollar would depreciate in that context, but the how will I say, the investors' confidence in the rupee might start getting better than before. That depends on the inflationary rate and the rate of interest in this country, that people should shift from the dollar to investing in local currency.
But we are doing better at as well. But thank you so much, Professor Dr. QAIS ASLAM, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you. And thank you so much for making our viewers understand what this agreement or how important this agreement is for Pakistan, for the private sector, and how people will certainly have more dependency or more confidence in the Pakistani rupee in days to come. Wow, what a wonderful day to be alive. Alhamdulillah.
It is absolutely fantastic and such positive news. And with that, we will be taking a short break. So stay tuned with us. back to all the lovely people who stay tuned with us. And in this exciting segment, we are going to be talking about how the world essentially reached its doomsday level, how we were left without the internet on a global internet outage because of the Amazon streaming services, which were disrupted very recently. What actually happened is that the Amazon Web Services suffered a global outage, disrupting major apps and websites. Over 11 million outage reports were logged in. Around 2,500 companies were affected. The losses have reached around hundreds and billions of dollars. And what is actually very interesting is that this was not a cyber attack. This was actually caused by human error or technical interruptions. This actually highlights how countries like Pakistan need to build on cloud computing and digital infrastructure, so we do not get impacted by such invasions of digital disruption. And to speak more about this, about how we can counteract this and what exactly happened, how did this loss happen, we actually have Dr. AMMAR, who is the Dean of the Faculty of Computing and Artificial Intelligence at Air University.
From my university. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you feeling today?
Well, Sam Shahzad Saab, nice to be again with you on this forum. I'm really great, and hopefully you are all fine also.
Alhamdulillah, sir, and it's always wonderful to hear, from my university every now and then as well. Looks like as if not just the university students, but the university itself has been doing great lately.
It's absolutely wonderful to have you today. And for all the people who just heard about this or don't know about this, what exactly happened with the Amazon Web Services and why was there a huge, massive internet outage?
Okay, we must realize that cloud computing is now the dominant paradigm. It has many advantages, and that's why the companies have shifted over. But these are the downsides. That is, you have a single point of failure. I think so. Now the world has realized that with this, once you have these advantages, you'll always have to be worried and be careful. Like it's a lesson for us also. For while we don't have many of Pakistani companies really hosting our services on Amazon. But still, there are a number of cloud services in Pakistan also, for which this is also a wake-up call. And in this case, as you have already pointed out, it was not a cyber attack, anything else. So it was a common technical error where they have their internal domain name services, which are used for mapping the common domain names like google.com to the IP addresses. And these internal domain name services were used by the Amazon for mapping their databases to different applications. And there was a problem with that mapping, and that's why their applications could not work. And so, and by design, Amazon system is very robust. They have alternate options. They always have redundancies. But and this is quite strange that this time they were not able to figure it out quite early, and it took them quite a while. And there had been so much loss of services, and there have been companies which have been affected badly, like Snapchat and others.
Exactly. And sir, in addition to this, let's talk about how almost all sorts of banking information is actually on all of these applications. Just yesterday, I think I had to pay Snapchat 330 rupees because my data storage was full. So how much of risk does it kind of bring to all of those people and users as well? Because the US East 1 region was in particular hit by the AWS services being down, and it's more like how there is a library and how the DynamoDB goes and get the relevant information, but they cannot actually go and find that because they cannot reach out to that library. How much of looming threat it is? And even in Pakistan, I do know for a fact that how this private mobile network company has actually launched their own cloud computing services, but it's the over reliability onto the foreign services that we still feel are more secure and safe, and this actually kind of exposes them.
You're absolutely right. While in this case, it wasn't thanks God, it wasn't some cyber threats, and there had been like those Cloudflare, CrowdStrike, and the other sites. Those have been struck previously by cyber threats, so they were quite relieved, Amazon, in terms of that. But still, it has meant a loss of availability and really user credibility. There has been quite much of loss. And as a user, we are while we do not care about where are our sites hosted, but it's a wake-up call for most of the companies that in case if they are really hosting, they have to look for more redundancy. Like Snapchat might have to only not bet on Amazon, they have to look for their other global providers like Google has its own cloud, then Microsoft Azure. These are also big names. So in terms of Pakistan also, for the companies, probably the safer bets would be for reliability, because security had not been an issue over here. Definitely, once you put in your data in more of these services and use more cloud, security would become a concern. But then there has to be match in between the user experience, the availability of services, and the security. And for that, one of those options now for the, or one of these pathways for the Pakistani companies also would be that once they are hosting on local providers like Multinet on Airtel Cloud or CloudX, these they should not put all their eggs in only one basket, and they might have some sort of relationship with the other providers also, so that they can switch over in case of such situations. They can still ensure that within a limited time they are able to put up they are again able to put up their services for the users. So this might be the way out for the Pakistani companies.
And speaking about switching servers and using this pathway, right, what actually happens is that three companies across the globe actually control all of the global market, and those are Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. So we can talk about how this reliance on these three massive companies is actually very unreliable, especially for countries like Pakistan. So we should actually boost our own cloud computing services and digital infrastructure. Do you think we will be able to achieve that?
I think so. We are on that pathway, and because there is quite much of investment also involved, so you have to have a local appetite for the local companies, and for these international companies, because they had been they have been able to expand by virtue of the international appetite for more and more resources, which they have been able to fulfill. And I think so, as with the upcoming this AI and generative, these new concepts, our companies are also expanding, and we have really good cloud computing host providers. And I believe that there would be now shift toward those companies, because previously we had not been, there might have been such a maybe negative feeling that probably we are not as reliable as compared to the international, these bigger workhorses. So now I think so this has also exposed that even if you are part of a such a big company, if you are using such a big company, still you can get there are possibilities that you can get really bogged down and not able to really put up your services. So now I think so there would be more inclination toward local companies as compared to the past, where we would have definitely thought, so okay, probably we are not as good as the others.
Exactly, and which is why, sir, I think on a very lighter note, I want to kind of touch base with how unfortunately if there are issues of connectivity, your wife might doubt you, your parents who actually keep on calling you just because your WhatsApp cannot connect. There can be so many multiple questions right at the top of your head as well. But sir, with every failure or with every such downfall of cloud computing, if you are talking about that today, there is a window of opportunity. What opportunity do you see over here for Pakistani software engineers to kind of do well and make sure that we increase in appetite? Now imagine that where I've spoken about a local data network provider over here has a service with the name of Garage, which is cloud computing service, and it's certainly autonomous and within Pakistan. How do you think that our companies really need to kind of have a backup plan? Because it looked like as if their backup, AWS's backup plan did fail, where they did say that the services are up by 330, but it wasn't really the case. How do you think that people who are over here and are self-reliant or reliant, or their companies are reliant onto such cloud computing solutions, what do they need to do now?
This is a great question, but we must realize that cloud computing has evolved over these last 30, 40 years. So it's a concept from 90s, and now it has, and Amazon had been the market leader in terms of doing the research and bringing in new and new technologies for adding robustness and reliability. So first thing would be to again go back to those concepts and identify still what went wrong, despite Amazon being the leader and being able to practice those, have such a budget for the research and being able to ensure that they have the latest concepts and latest technologies embedded as part of the infrastructure. So that would be, I think, so the first step for our local these cloud service providers, that this would really serve as a great case study for them. So that would help them make their system more robust instead of like this would provide them the opportunity to be able to maybe bypass these big companies in terms of, because for them they have already the Amazon, Microsoft, they would also have the legacy system embedded, and for them really if they want to change their system it would not be an overnight process. But Pakistanis, if you see all our cloud service providers, they are still novice. So that's at quite much of this dimension to it, that we can really bypass them. Because for us, improving the systems and making them more robust would be much easier as compared to those companies which have thousands or billions of such systems, and they have to incorporate those changes across all those systems. For us, it would be, I think so, quite much of a ray of hope that we can, if we really move forward in that direction in a fast manner, we can capture this opportunity and be able to provide services which are maybe at par or even better than the ones which are provided by those companies.
All right, thank you so
That's
much.
wonderful. And Eesha, just very quickly, because sir, I would certainly want to get hit with nostalgia today. While I was studying at AWS University, whenever our team would come out for a round, it would scare us. How is it now when you are out on a round? Is it more friendly now?
Jazad bhai, I would bring you again over here, and now people would be more, instead of get scared of you, people would be taking selfies with you now.
Thank you so much,
So
sir. Thank
inshallah,
you so
we'll
much,
have you
sir,
back
for
over
being
here.
with us. Thank you so much for
It's
being with
absolutely
us.
great
Lovely
to
to
have
be
you.
in
Thank you so
conversation with
much.
you. And it feels so amazing, and I take pride in for the fact that I was able to go to Air University, alhamdulillah, and that how the Air University and its students have progressed globally, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, I'm
Shukran
sure
Allah.
they're very, very proud of you to be their alumni, and I'm sure you can become the brand ambassador of Air University anytime soon, Shahzad.
Alhamdulillah, I think I've always been brand ambassador for them. Anyways, but right at these crossroads, ladies and gentlemen, I did mention how it was very unfortunate for me to kind of come across this news and how it shouldn't really have happened, but I would want our experts to kind of speak about it. Imagine that Mohammad Rizwan, who formerly was the skipper for the one-day international, have actually made Pakistan win in Australia. So defeating Australia in Australia was one of those biggest challenges which Pakistan always had, and Mohammad Rizwan happened to be one of those captains for one-day international format, where it looked like as if he's done a great job. But now, for a longer period of time, our one-day international squad wasn't being announced because of the fact that they wanted to change the captain. Why did they want to change the captain, and how ESPN Cricinfo actually states that it's Mohammad Rizwan being sacked and Shaheen Shah Afridi brought into action as well, where how I think it was early 2024, Shaheen Shah Afridi was in the role of a T20 international captain. We had a very unfortunate defeat with 4-1, but it's for Mr. Syed HAIDER to kind of speak about it. So Syed HAIDER, Assalamu alaikum, good morning. How are you feeling today?
Hello?
Haji HAIDER bhai, Assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Assalamualaikum. I'm fine. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Wonderful to have you. But sir, very quickly, why do you think Mohammad Rizwan, who actually made Pakistan win in Australia against Australia, and now all of a sudden, just when we were about to encounter one-day internationals with South Africa, where they're visiting Pakistan, that Mohammad Rizwan was sacked of captaincy and Shaheen Shah Afridi was brought into role?
I think, Shahzad, it's not a one-night decision. I think PCB was thinking about it to get someone, new captain, young captain, because Mohammad is on 30 plus, and the new captain, emerging captain, Shaheen Shah Afridi, is just 25 plus. So I think it's only the reason behind that, because PCB want to get someone. He's a young player, and he will be captain for the next World Cup 2027 South Africa World Cup. So I think it is only the ground where the PCB was thinking. Otherwise, the Rizwan is a very composed, very compatible, and very energetic player. I think Rizwan, what he has done in his captaincy, as just right now you have said that about the Australian series and South Africa series. In whitewash, Pakistan got it first time in the history, and against Australia won the series in Australia. So two big milestone he has achieved, but still, I think the PCB was not satisfied, or the PCB has mentioned that the chief coach, Mike Hasaan, he is not agreed to get the Rizwan as a captain, because the future of the Rizwan is not so big, and he's looking someone who can be the captain for the next 3-4 years. So I think it is only the reason behind. But Shaheen Shah, you know that he was the captain already against New Zealand in New Zealand series, T20 captain he was, and they have lost the series, but still I think they believe that he has done the captaincy of the Lahore Qalandars in PSL. So maybe it will be a good decision of the PCB, but we must understand that Pakistan national team captaincy is not a PSL franchise captaincy. It's a very different thing.
Exactly,
and very.
But Mr. Syed Haider, at this point of time, what we really need to kind of speak about is that, you know, how Rizwan was, I think, 4 or 5 runs short of being the highest run scorer from Pakistan. And in addition to this, he was averaging at 42 in one-day internationals. Now, what I would want to speak about is that it's not, you know, the white ball coach Mike Hassan's decision. It looks like as if the decision came from the topmost management of the Pakistan Cricket Board. What would you say about it?
This is possible always, because the think tank of Pakistan Cricket Board is other former cricketers, test cricketers. They are there, and they are thinking about how to get the Pakistan cricket on the better stage. Because in the last 1 year, 2 years, we have lost a lot of matches. We have lost in Champions Trophy. I think this is only the reason what Pakistan's performance was in Champions Trophy on the world side. So therefore, they wanted to get someone. And I think after some time, we will see some more big changes in Pakistan one-day international team, because some of the players, they are just in the team and they are not getting the biggest scores like Babar Azam and other players. So I think it is only the reason behind. But the former test cricketers, they think that the revolutionary changes will be a silent feature of the Pakistan cricket team, as they have done in T20 team also. So this is only the feature. Otherwise, the Rizwan is a very good player, very good batter, keeper, one of the best keepers in the world, and Pakistan's definitely the number one keeper. But still, I think they are not satisfied from this performance as a captain from Rizwan. And Rizwan, they want to give only the opportunity to bat and keep and to help the Pakistan cricket team.
Exactly, sir. So one last question, and that is that, you know, when I was in conversation last Saturday over my other program, Game On Hai on PTV Sports with Basit Khan, Shewakt and Sana Mir, they said that it's not going to be the right decision to change Mohammad Rizwan, who happens to be one of the amazing players of this format, and to bring in Shaheen Shah Afridi. They didn't really comment about Shaheen Shah Afridi, but they said that it's really not the wise decision. He's one of the most amazing wicket keepers that Pakistan have had now, and the most amazing batter to be on the crease at a number that he plays. Absolutely. Do you think that there will be changes, or do you think that in days to come we might not even see Mohammad Rizwan, unfortunately, being a part of the ODI team?
Yes, I will support Basit's comments. But really, it will not be as easy for the Shaheen Shah Afridi, because he is a fast bowler, and you need someone who is in the middle. He can be a batter, and also Rizwan, I think he was the best solution for the captaincy of the ODI. But if the PCB doesn't want it to get some Rizwan as a captain, I think something is behind running. And what we cannot say exactly, because we don't have the evidences and something. But still, I think the Rizwan, it is not only the performance as a captain, but some more things they are running behind. And therefore, they have got the Shaheen Shah Afridi as a captain. But we have to make good hopes that Shaheen Shah Afridi is a very genuine player of Pakistan cricket team. And what he has done in the bowling is a good one for the Pakistan. I think he will do better, but still, it's a big question as a fast bowler, because we have never seen in Pakistan cricket career in the past that the fast bowlers, they were very at few numbers the captain. Most of the time, the batters, they were the captain. So it is very interesting how he will do and how we can get the good result by which we have got the Shaheen Shah as a new captain.
Exactly, and you know, certainly we would want to wish Shaheen Shah Afridi the best of luck as well for this new role as well, and we hope and pray that, you know, that he could perform well. And unfortunate for Mohammad Rizwan, because it wasn't really his performance, but for all the reasons that Mr. Syed Haider has put up, it looks like as if, you know, it was more feasible for Shaheen Shah Afridi to be the skipper or to be in this role and to get started as well. Thank you so much, Mr. Syed Haider, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation.
And, you know, speaking about the sports world, let's talk about some positive news that is going to bring a smile on everyone's face, and that is Pakistan's very own Mohammad Ashab Irfan has clinched the Richardson Wealth Open squash title. In the final match held in Canada, Ashab Irfan defeated England's Sam Todd in straight A's. In the straight games, the Pakistan Pakistani player wrapped up the contest in just 43 minutes, winning by scores of 11-9, 11-1, and 11-5. And Shahzad, you know, out of all the games that I've pursued, I feel like I should have pursued squash professionally, because the prize money for this game is estimated to be around $31,250.
Wow.
That is a massive winning amount, and congratulations to Muhammad Ashab.
I think your primary focus is on the winning amount anyways. But see what, okay, now, imagine that, Eesha, how, you know, me and you, when we sit down over here, we're always being tested with our abilities to do well, right?
Yeah.
Now, I think what I'm going to do is that I'm going to get a little off script, or what I've decided with my wonderful producer, Madam Sana, but I'm going to include this news, and it's because of the fact that Pakistan and South Africa's second test match is going on in Rawalpindi, and that Pakistan Cricket Board has already offered for all of those cricket fans to come in and watch it for free as well. So just to kind of share with you whether what's happening over there, so Pakistan will resume their first innings at 259 for 5 against South Africa on second day of the second test at Rawalpindi Cricket Stadium. Ali Abdullah Shafiq scored a composed 52 runs with 4 boundaries, while captain Shah MASOOD played an outstanding innings of 87 runs, including 2 fours and 3 sixes. Well, now I think Pakistan has been doing well so far, and it looks like as if Pakistan is not just doing good in cricket, but international media even spotlights. Pakistan's rising global influence. And that's something that I would want to talk about. We have given you evidence about it. We have spoken about it. We've spoken about foreign remittances. We've spoken about the, you know, diplomatic ascent. But imagine that Pakistan's government and military diplomacy have elevated the country's global stature in a recent analytical report. Global media outlet CNN has acknowledged Pakistan's growing importance, highlighting the success of its military capabilities and diplomatic strategy. Now we're in the game. CNN analyst Fareed Zakaria stated that US President Donald Trump, who initially favored close ties with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi during his first term, has now become an admirer of Field Marshal Syed and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. I think I just can't keep calm. Can't keep calm.
And
Just
we need to
feels
highlight
great.
this. Exactly.
Yeah.
It feels absolutely brilliant to be a Pakistani right now under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister Mohammad Shehbaz Sharif and our Field Marshal Syed who have been taking Pakistan to new ascents, as Shahzad highlighted. And speaking of reaching new ascents and reaching for the stars, we actually
Reaching new heights.
reaching new heights. We actually have a young astronaut, a Lahori-born young boy who is now in the United States. He happens to be Hassan Mohsin, who has been training. He is one of the few civilians who is going through astronaut training, from floating in space in zero gravity to operating spacesuits, pilot aircrafting. He is a graduate of the University of Toronto with a degree in astrophysics. He is trained with the International Institute of Astrological Sciences. Thank you so much for joining us today, Hassan.
Hey, how are you?
You're absolutely great, and you know, it's so wonderful to always have you on our program. The last time that you were here, we felt and we took a lot of pride into what you were actually doing with all the efforts that your parents, you've put in yourself. First of all, let's speak about how you took the Pakistani flag to microgravity. Let's speak about that experience and then build up further on that. Please go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So I recently did a zero gravity flight in Ottawa, Canada, with my institute, the International Institute for Astronautical Sciences. And the purpose of that flight is to experience 20 seconds of microgravity in each parabola where you do a science experiment. So I was there primarily to do a physics experiment for granular dynamics. And the first parabola that we do, where we take the plane up to 20,000 feet, then we turn the engine off and we let it free fall for 20 seconds towards the ground. In the first parabola where we were doing that, I had the opportunity to take off the flag from my shoulder and free float it, which was a very proud moment. It was very heartwarming, I'd say. And then we recovered the plane at about 10,000 feet, turn the engine back on, and then we keep doing that again and again.
Wow, that's great. But why didn't you let go of your seatbelt, you know, in all of this? Why the only Pakistani flag?
Yeah, I could have opened the seatbelt, but I was worried that I was going to go straight to the ceiling because you really just jump out of your seat. It's so sudden that it's a bit of a difficult thing to process at the beginning. This is my first time doing a zero gravity flight, and I was experiencing what doctors call like a visual sensory conflict. So your body's telling you one thing, but the reality is something else. So I thought that the plane was going upwards when I looked up at the cabin, everything seemed to be going upwards, right? Because everything's flying. And that's what my brain's telling me. But actually, the plane's falling downwards. So I have this disoriented perspective. And so the first few times that you do it, it's recommended that you stay in your seat so you don't risk injury.
Wow. So basically, it's more like how the airplane is actually nose diving, but people or things within the airplane is actually going upwards, right? For our better understanding.
Yeah. Yes.
So fascinating, Hassan, and it's absolutely incredible to see a young Pakistani boy like you making his mark in the field of astronautics. So what actually inspired you to pursue this as a career, Hassan? We're so excited to know.
Oh, by the way, it's Hassan. And so I think I've always just wanted to be an astronaut. This has been something that I've wanted to do since I was a kid, but there hasn't been a proper pathway in the past because it has been predominantly a field for US citizens going through NASA astronaut training, or the Russians, or, you know, you need to have an agency in your country that fully supports and funds you until recently. Now we have the launch capability with companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, Virgin Galactic that are sending civilians to space with much, much lower amounts of training, and it is also much more affordable. And so then come in these institutes. So this one, the one that I'm in, is a very rare institute that I found out about through my conferences. So while I was in undergrad, I was doing a lot of conferences and student design teams, like engineering teams. And I found out about this institute, and they give courses and research opportunities related to bioastronautics. Now, this is not official NASA training. It doesn't officially guarantee you a space mission, but it is a step in the right direction for commercial spaceflight. And I wanted to study spacesuit design, so that's what I'm currently going towards.
Oh my
Exactly,
God,
and
that sounds
Hassan,
great.
it's wonderful to see you doing that. Now, imagine that we're over here in Pakistan, parents would always speak about how you really need to just become a doctor or an engineer. Even becoming a television host was something which wasn't
Out of the blue.
really looked up to, you know, because every time I would go see someone, they'll be like, okay, so you're an anchor person, but what else do you do? I was like, that's exactly what I do. That's it. But how do you think that you are becoming a trailblazer for all of those individuals who would want to venture into it? And thank you so much that, you know, that our Instagram connectivity actually brings about this segment in front of the people and the eyes of the people or the audiences who are out there. I know for a fact that it must be a very expensive journey for you to where you are as of today, but how do you think people can do it effectively now that you've done it yourself?
Yeah, I agree. It is a little bit of an expensive journey because as of right now, it's not a pathway that directly pays you back. And it's the other way around because I'm taking these courses. So I'm paying for the instructor's time and resources. But I don't think that necessarily you have to start from here. I think you start contributing to space sciences much, much earlier on. This is something that comes later on. At the beginning, you can contribute. So if you're in high school, you can go to the NASA website, go to citizen science projects, which are free projects you can do from home, from all over the world, and you can contribute to real projects. You can compete in competitions. For example, the NASA Space Apps Challenges, they're all across the world. You can compete in those. And then when you are going to select a university, you can think about going into majors that are currently, part of space industry. So if you are good with research, you enjoy research, astronomy is a very, very interesting field for cosmology and large-scale structures. If you want to get more hands-on experience, aerospace engineering, mechanical, electrical engineering, they're all very good fields. Eventually, we are also going to need lawyers in space. We're going to need architects. We're going to need all sorts of professions. So if you're already an industry professional, you can also think about how, let's say you're a lawyer, you can think about how you can get into policy making for cosmic level. So for example, you don't want one country to capture and conquer the moon. You don't want one country taking over parts of space. So you need to make policies for that. So I think from a very small level, you start online, learn, and then you can go forward and join institutes like this. It's a long journey always.
Hassan, you've shared very exciting tidbits for all of us, and you've shared words of wisdom with us. Thank you so much for that. And speaking more about your training, it sounds absolutely intimidating, right? So from hypoxia training to high gravity flights to actually spacesuit operations, what was the most intimidating and challenging exercise?
Oh, without a doubt, the high G flight training, the aerobatic flight was physically much more demanding than all the other things. I think they all have their challenges. So for example, if you're going inside a spacesuit, you probably need some sort of scuba experience or knowledge. Other things, for example, the microgravity flight, that will build up from your high G flight. So in the high G flight, what happens is that your plane is going so fast that when you change directions, your acceleration changes so quickly that you're going to be pressed into your seat. You're going to be experiencing the forces of gravity many more times than you would on Earth. And you're going to struggle to breathe because your chest is being pushed in, your face, your arms, your legs, everything feels heavy. The blood is being drained from your brain to your legs. And if you're not trained for it, you could pass out, you could faint, which happens to some people. So for that, they train us for a long time beforehand. They teach us something called the anti-G straining maneuver. It is a technique on how you can breathe properly, because you need to take a deep breath beforehand and breathe in a very quick manner. If you don't know how to do that maneuver, you could risk high levels of injury during that flight. So it was the most challenging part of my training, but also the most enjoyable, because the views over the Florida coastline where I was doing this training were just fantastic.
Hasaan, and which is why, you know, we would want to wish you best of luck. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you so much for taking our time, and thank you so much for taking Pakistan's flag right up in the air and making it float, because it looked very fascinating. And certainly whatever you're doing for the name of Pakistan is something which is we are going to appreciate, and thank you so much for your time. And certainly where Elon Musk actually speaks about colonizing Mars or probably the moon, you will be amongst the people who would actually be eligible to go and travel as well. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to actually make sure that we wrap it up as well for everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, we try day in, day out to make sure that we bring you the bestest of the programs as well. Make sure that you write to us on our Instagram pages of Pakistan TV. Until next time, look after yourselves. We are World This Morning. Allah Hafiz.